Goes on to say whether any difference is to be made on account of the age of the accused, or no difference made between the very young and the more mature, whether pardon is granted for repentance, or whether a man who has once been a Christian gains nothing by having ceased to be one, whether punishment attaches to the mere name, apart from secret crimes, or only to the secret crimes associated with the name. In all these matters, I've had no little uncertainty.
So there he mentions the secret crimes that are associated with the name, that is the name Christian. And he doesn't specify what those secret crimes are. And that's interesting too, because that tells us that Trajan is probably aware of these rumors as well at this time. He doesn't need to specify what the secret crimes are. But we do know from later Christian writers, apologists of the 2nd century, like Justin Martyr and Tertullian and Athenagoras, what the secret crimes were, the alleged crimes that Christians were guilty of. Christians were accused of all kinds of activities, including atheism. That might surprise some people to hear that Christians were accused of atheism, but they were accused of atheism because they didn't worship the state gods. They were also accused of sexual immorality because they had a feast known as the agape, the love feast. They were
Right.
they were accused of incest because they referred to each other as brothers and sisters, and they greeted each other with a kiss and so on in their secret meetings. And they were accused, probably the worst accusation is of cannibalism, because they were allegedly eating flesh and blood in their assemblies. So those were some of the secret crimes they were accused of.
Very, very salacious.
Right. So the charges brought against the Christians in Pontus, where Pliny was, may have been based on those secret crimes associated with the name Christian. Pliny doesn't know whether to punish them simply for bearing the name Christian. Is that in itself a crime that should be punished? Or should they be punished for committing the crimes associated with the name Christian? So that's also why Pliny raises the second question that you just read of whether pardon should be granted to someone who has renounced the faith. So let me mention another author here, Camden, and it's Everett Ferguson. In this book, Backgrounds of Early Christianity, which is a very, very thick book. And this is essential reading if you want to dig into the various backgrounds, Roman backgrounds, Jewish backgrounds, Greek backgrounds, and so on of early Christianity. Ferguson gives us an explanation of the two questions that Pliny raises here in his letter to Trajan. The latter two questions, Ferguson says, are interrelated. If punishment was for the name, in other words, being a member of the group, the apostates, those who renounced the faith, could be pardoned. If the punishment was for the crimes, the inquiries and trials must proceed and the guilty be punished no matter how long ago the crimes were committed. Deniers and apostates would prefer the former policy, that is, punishment for merely bearing the name, because they no longer bear the name, they've renounced it. For this would release them immediately. Faithful Christians preferred the latter because they were loyal to the name and insisted that they were not guilty of any crimes. Pliny's very uncertainty whether guilt attached to the name, membership in the group, or to the crimes associated with the name presupposes that the name Christian was already suspect, since Nero probably, and was not a new situation originating in his own time. Christian apologists of the 2nd century argued that Christians should not be judged for the name, but examined for specific crimes. This, however, was not government policy. Now, you'll see Justin Martyr, for example, and Tertullian and some of the other apologists making just that argument.
Yeah, it's strange to think, why would it be illegal to be part of the group if the group wasn't committing crimes? It's hard to, but that's the distinction that Ferguson is making here, and would have been, I guess, significant to Pliny and to the governors. He's trying to figure out what exactly is the nature of the wrongdoing, if there is wrongdoing to be seen.
Well, you got to remember that the founder of the group
Yeah,
was
indeed.
condemned and executed by the Roman government for treason.
Correct. And so, are these political rivals, treasonous peoples? I don't know. I kept thinking about McCarthyism and, asking, are you now or have you ever been, a member of the Communist Party?
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not somebody had done anything illegal on the books, if you were part of that group, then that should be enough for you to be locked up or condemned or whatever, censored. And so there's something akin to that here of whether you punish them for being a member of the group, or do you need to investigate whether they did eat some human flesh in the past or commit incest or whatever.
Right. Yeah, right. Very good. Would you read the next section, Camden,
Yeah,
in the
you bet.
letter?